Hello, viewers. Today is Sunday, November the 3rd, 2024. I'm here to share my thoughts and opinions on the US presidential elections 2024. Today, I'm going to discuss about the Des Moines Register poll that has been the talk of the media for the last 16 hours or so. So, Des Moines Register came up with a poll on the state of Iowa, and it says that Kamala Harris is winning the state of Iowa with 3 points, 47-44, but it is still within the margin of error. The margin of error is 3.4 points. So this is very surprising and shocking to many people because of the fact that both parties conceded that Iowa will be won by Donald Trump. So I'm just going to go into the presentation as to exactly how the poll played out in terms of numbers, and then I will also discuss those with the early voting numbers as well. And then I will share my thoughts on exactly what I feel about Iowa and about this poll. So without any delay, let's go into the presentation. Okay, there we go. So this is the a slide that describes about the Iowa Des Moines Register poll. The poll has Kamala Harris as 47%, Donald Trump at 44%. They sampled around 808 likely voters between October 28th and 31st. The margin of error is plus or minus 3.4 percentage points. The source is actually Des Moines Register Mediacom poll. The pollster is actually J. Ann Seltzer. So before I go further into the numbers, I would like to say that Ann Seltzer is a very reputed pollster, and Des Moines Register is a very reputed newspaper in Iowa, and generally they don't get things wrong, especially Ann Seltzer's record has been stellar. But nevertheless, let's look at the internals of this data. They had polled 808 likely voters, and let's look at the independents. Kamala Harris, according to this poll, is winning the independents vote in the state of Iowa by 7 points, 46-39. Within that, if you look at the data, she is winning the independent woman by 28 points. And that's where the real margin comes in this total independent votes, because she's losing the independent men by 37-47. So in terms of independence, she has got a 7-point lead, but in terms of the independent woman, she has got 28-point lead, and she loses the independent men by 10 points. So that's one demographic. Then let's look at the age. Less than 35, she is winning by 2 points, 46-44. Between 35 and 54, she's actually losing by 8 points, 42-50. And greater than 55, she's winning by 12 points, 51-39. This is very surprising. I will come to this number later on during this episode. This is very surprising to me and for several political analysts as well. Then let's look at gender. In terms of gender, she's winning women by 20 points. She's losing the men's vote by around 14 points. But within the women votes, she has got such a huge lead among senior women. It's close to around 35 points. She's winning the senior woman by 35 points. That's huge. And she is winning the senior men by 2 points. So that means that she's really doing very well among the seniors. And that's why she gets that 12-point lead among the seniors. So if you look at this slide, she's doing well among independents, she's doing well among women, and among the women, she's doing very well among senior women. She's also taking the lead on the senior men. And the only area that she's really losing is in terms of independent men, and also between the age group 35-54. So this is what the poll says. It's a reputed pollster. Is it an outlier? Could be an outlier, but I'm not too sure because Ann Seltzer is a very reputed pollster. Then there is a 3.4 percentage points plus or minus margin of error. So this could indicate that it is probably a closer election, not an election that Kamala Harris is going to win. It could also indicate that. But before we go into these details, let's go into the next slide, which has the early voting numbers. So let's look at the early voting numbers in Iowa. Totally, as of now, around 603,000 voters have voted. 39% of them are registered Democrats. We do not know how they voted, but they are registered Democrats. And 40% were registered Republicans, and 21% are independents. So that is why the independent vote is very critical. If you get all your Democrats votes, and if you get, and the Republicans get all the Republicans vote, if she has a good lead among independents, then that means she would be in a position to win the state. But anyway, we'll come to that later. Then let's look at the other demographics. 18 to 29 is 8% of the votes so far. 30 to 29 is also 8%. 40 to 49 is 10%. 50 to 64 is 24%. And seniors are at 50% of the electorate so far. And that is why that number where she is winning the seniors is very, very important, because the seniors vote. Whereas the younger voters generally do not vote as consistently as the seniors. Then look at the gender gap here. On the early vote, in terms of the voter composition, there is a 10-point difference between the people who have voted who are men and the people who have voted who are women. Again, there is, on the gender composition, you have a 10-point advantage among women, and then you a 10-point advantage on gender. And then you look at the senior votes, they constitute 50% of the electorate so far. So you look at this Iowa early voting analysis or early voting data, and then you go back and look at the Des Moines Register poll. It looked as though that Kamala Harris might win the state. But I am a little bit skeptical about this for two reasons. One is Kamala Harris did not invest enough resources in the state of Iowa, and both parties assumed that Donald Trump is going to win the state of Iowa. The average before this poll was close to around 7 to 8 points. So this poll suggests that she has taken the lead, and a lot of the Democrats are excited about this poll. So, but I would like to caution them, and I would like to say that this poll is good for the Democrats to get a sense of exactly how the seniors are voting. Number one, it looks as though that seniors this time are voting for Democrats more than the Republicans. And mind you, the last time Democrats won the senior vote across the country was in 2000 when Al Gore won the senior vote. After that, Democrats have not won the senior vote. As it stands today, not just in Iowa, if you look at the entire country, it looks as though that Kamala Harris is going to win the senior vote. That's one important takeaway from this poll, because it validates that. Second, what it does say is independents, especially independent women, are voting for Democrats. Even if you take that margin of error plus or minus 3 points, and you even say that she loses 7 points or 6 points from this poll, she is still at 41, and still she would have gotten a good number of the independent vote, and she would have also gotten a good number of women voters. So what does that tell us? That tells us that in the other states, like in Ohio, and also remember, Iowa is a state where there is very, very few minorities. In fact, you can call it the whitest of the white states. Kansas is another, Nebraska is another, but Iowa is the whitest of white states. And if she is doing well among independents, not even to that extent that the poll is suggesting, but even if you discount 3 or 4 points from that poll, but still if she's doing as well as the poll suggests, minus 3 or 4 points, it bodes well for the Democrats in the states like Ohio, where again it's a predominantly a white state, a less number of minorities, even though there are pockets of minority influence and big cities and the suburbs, but still it's a very white state, and it is trending Republican from the last 2 cycles. If she can reduce the margin there. She will not win Ohio for sure. If she can reduce the margin there because of the senior vote, and that will be a good sign for the Democrats. Then you come to Florida, where there are a lot of seniors living there. If she does remotely close to what the Iowa poll suggests among seniors, then she has a chance to reduce the Trump's victory margin there. Then you go to Texas, another place. If she gets this kind of advantage among women and the seniors, she can reduce the margin of Trump's victory. She cannot win these three states, but I will look out for these three states, Texas, Ohio, and Florida, and see how the senior vote has affected the Trump's margin on election night. Because this poll, I do believe that this is a very reputed poll. It is not an outlier, but I do believe that there is, because of the margin of error, I do believe that it will be difficult for Kamala Harris to win that state, but she will come close. And my call is that she will lose by 2 or 3 points, not the 7 points that the average of polls suggested before this poll came out. So she might lose by 2 or 3 points in Iowa, or maybe 1 or 2 points. But winning that state is going to be very difficult. However, what will be very important is look at Ohio. If she can reduce the margin in Ohio, that means Sherrod Brown has a chance to win that Ohio Senate seat. If she can reduce the margin in the state of Florida, then you have the Senate candidate Debbie Mukersol Powell, I believe. She has a chance to win that Senate seat. It's highly unlikely, but still she can come very close. Then you look at Texas, where Colin Allred is running against Ted Cruz. If Kamala Harris can reduce the margin of Trump's victory, then Colin Allred has a real chance of winning the Senate seat in the state of Texas. So these are the three places I will look at. Apart from, of course, Iowa, if she truly beats Trump in Iowa, then I think it is going to be very difficult for Trump to win the presidency. And that is why I'm very skeptical, because all the polls suggest that it's a very, very close race. And if Kamala Harris is going to win Iowa, that doesn't suggest it's a close race. So I do believe it's still a close race. So that is why I feel that Kamala Harris might not be able to win Iowa, but she will come close. And then I also think that if this poll is correct with the plus or minus 2 points, I will look at Ohio. I will look at Pennsylvania Senate seat. I will look at Wisconsin Senate seat. I will look at the Michigan Senate seats. Michigan, as it is, it looks as though Kamala Harris is doing pretty well there. If this Des Moines Register poll holds good, even say by 2 points or so, within 2 points or so in Iowa, then in Wisconsin, it looks like Kamala Harris might pull it off in Wisconsin. I always call Wisconsin as a flip of a coin state, but if this poll is correct, then there is a possibility that she will do well in Wisconsin as well. And then, of course, Pennsylvania, which is the largest state in terms of the battleground states, in terms of the electoral college votes. And I think she will do very well there. So my only caution to all these Democrats who are just getting too excited about this is Iowa is not a done deal. People have not invested money and resources from both campaigns. So I don't think that Kamala Harris can pull it through. But from the Republican side, I don't think they are panicking about Iowa, but they really need to be careful about this particular scenario where the seniors are voting for Kamala Harris. So I think they will be very concerned about this, and they will like to look at their internal numbers to see whether that is what they are seeing in the state of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, Texas, and even Nebraska for that matter. There is an independent Senate candidate that is running against a Republican candidate. And if this holds true, if the independents are voting for the Democratic ticket, and if there is a significant senior vote in favor of Kamala Harris, then I think that in Nebraska, that independent Senate candidate might win. So these are the interesting facts based on this poll. It came just on the Sunday or a Saturday night before the election, so it got a lot of media attention and coverage. Rightly so from my view, because Ansel sir is a very, very reputed pollster, and that's why I'm forced to do this program. Otherwise, I would have called it as an outlier. So let's wait and watch how this pans out, how this affects the other states, and see what happens on Tuesday. So that's it for me today. But before I go, again, I would like to reiterate that please go ahead and vote. It doesn't matter whom you vote for. It's important that you go and vote. And it's very, very important that we increase the voting percentage from 67, 68% last time to possibly close to 80. And that's it for me today. I'll come back to you with another episode, most likely this evening or tomorrow. Till then, take care.